As a psychologist with over 2 decades of experience in relationship dynamics and human behavior, I have spent countless hours studying the intricate ways in which men and women connect on an emotional level. Drawing from evolutionary psychology, cognitive behavioral principles, and attachment theory, I often encounter clients who struggle with the same fundamental issue, expressing love in a way that truly resonates with their partner. The text you provided echoes many of these insights, highlighting a profound misunderstanding in how we communicate affection. It suggests that while saying, "I love you," is powerful, it may not unlock the deepest layers of a man's commitment. Instead, it proposes 3 specific phrases that tap into his primal instincts, fostering a bond built on respect, trust, and admiration. In this analysis, I will integrate the core ideas from that text, approximately 70% of the content, while adding my own professional commentary and expansions, comprising at least 30%, to provide a comprehensive guide. This will help you apply these concepts practically, backed by psychological research and real-world examples from my practice. You can tell him, "I love you," 1,000 times. You can whisper it in his ear in the middle of the night, shout it to the world from the top of a mountain, or write it in letters scented with your perfume. You can make those 2 words the foundation of your relationship. But what if I told you that the key to the deepest and most secret chambers of a man's heart is not love? Think about it for a moment. How many times have you said, "I love you," and felt that the words did not really reach him? As if you were speaking a language he understands, maybe even appreciates, but does not feel in the same way you do. You see it in his eyes. A kind of gratitude, maybe affection, but not that deep connection, that complete surrender you are hoping for. From my clinical perspective, this disconnect often stems from differences in emotional processing between genders, as supported by studies in neuroscience. Men tend to respond more to actions and words that affirm their role and efficacy, rather than purely emotional declarations. This is not to say men do not value love, rather, their brains are wired to prioritize validation of their contributions, a trait linked to evolutionary roles where survival depended on problem-solving and protection. In my sessions, I have seen women who pour out affection only to feel unreciprocated, not realizing that their partners crave acknowledgement of their strength and purpose. You gave him the key to your soul. And in return, he barely opened the hallway door to you. This is where the great misunderstanding begins. The silent tragedy of countless relationships. We believe that men and women speak the same emotional language, but in truth, we are only using the same dictionary. The words are the same, yes, but their meaning, their weight, their impact are entirely different. For years, psychology, sociology, and even evolutionary biology have been trying to crack a code. A code that is in no guidebook. A primitive code that does not explain how a man feels loved, but how he feels needed, seen, real. And what if I told you now that there are 3 words, no trick, no calendar quote, but a psychological concept that can completely break through his inner armor? Words that do not speak to his heart, because that already knows you love him, but to his mind, to his instinct. Words that make him feel that his existence has a purpose and that you are that purpose. And these are not words of love. They are words of power. Not your power over him, but the power you give him. And it is exactly this power that binds him to you more deeply than any chain ever could. What you are about to discover today is not a seduction tactic. It is a map. A map of the hidden architecture of the male mind. A map that leads you to a place very few women ever reach. So forget for a moment everything you think you know about love and relationships. Because the 3 words a man truly needs to hear to bond with you forever are probably words you would never come up with on your own. And the first one might even scare you a little. The problem is we have built love on a romantic, almost cinematic idea where simply saying, "I love you," is considered the highest act. We were taught that love conquers all, that it is the strongest force in the universe. And while that is partly true, we have overlooked a fundamental truth that behavioral psychology has known for decades. To the male brain, love is not the goal. It is the vehicle, the true destination, the harbor where he anchors his identity and connection is respect. And not just any respect, but a very specific kind that only the most important woman in his life can give him. This is the true core of this message. It is not about a trick to make him love you more. It is about understanding why so. Many relationships that start with burning passion end in quiet routine. They love each other, yes, but they no longer admire each other. They live together, but they are no longer a team. The connection has become functional, not essential. He provides, she cares, or modern versions of that. But the fire, the feeling of being irreplaceable to each other has gone out. Why? Because she keeps giving him love even though he already feels it. While what he really needs to keep his devotion alive is the feeling of being acknowledged as a man. This lack of understanding is the root of emotional distance. It is the reason he throws himself into work, games, or other activities for hours. Not necessarily because he does not want to see her, but because there he gets something he is missing. A clear, direct, tangible confirmation. Success at work is success. Winning a game is a victory. Fixing something makes him useful, and these are tangible victories that affirm his value in the world. Love, on the other hand, is abstract. But if you, his partner, give him a confirmation as tangible and powerful as those external achievements, everything changes. You will not just be his private life. You will become his center because you give him something no one else can. The feeling of being a hero in his own home. The promise I make to you with this video is this. In the next few minutes, I will not just reveal these 3 phrases or concepts. I will explain the exact psychology behind them, why they work on an almost neurological level, when to use them so they do not sound forced, and most importantly, how to say them with genuine feeling, so they never come across as manipulation. We will take apart the engine of the male psyche and understand how its components work. Because once you understand that, you will stop blindly pushing buttons hoping something happens. You will start acting like an emotional surgeon with precision, with sensitivity. You will create a bond so deep and strong that even the thought of seeking validation elsewhere becomes unthinkable for him. Get ready because the first key is about to be revealed. To understand this first key, we must dive deep back to the most primal part of the male mind. Forget the modern man for a moment with his smartphone, obligations, and complicated life. Go further back. See the man as a tribal being, someone whose worth and identity for thousands of years were not measured by how much love he received, but by how useful he was to his tribe, his ability to hunt, guard the fire, defend the camp from predators. His worth was directly tied to his ability to be a shield, the one who solves problems. In short, a hero. That instinct, that hero gene, has not disappeared. It is just asleep, buried beneath layers of civilization and political correctness. But it is still there, a quiet engine inside him. A man longs, often without even fully understanding it, to be the hero of his own story. And the most important story of his life is the one he shares with you. He wants to be your hero. And this is where the inner conflict begins. The great paradox of our modern relationships. You are a modern woman, strong, capable, independent. You have learned rightfully that you do not need a man to be saved. You can solve your problems, open jars, build furniture, kill spiders. You are self-sufficient, and that is beautiful. But in constantly proving your independence, you are without realizing it sending a destructive message to his ancient instinct. The message says, I do not need you. Every time you reject his help with a calm, I have got this. Every time you downplay a problem he would love to solve, every time you take control of a situation where he could have been your protector, what he does not hear is, my woman is strong. What his instinct hears is a cold whisper. You are not needed here. There are no dragons to slay. The hero is irrelevant. A man who does not feel needed in his own relationship begins to wither inside. He looks elsewhere for places where he can still be a hero. Work, sports, sometimes other people. It is not about pretending to be weak or helpless. That would insult your intelligence. True emotional subtlety lies not in needing, but in choosing. It means you can do it all yourself. And yet you choose to give him space to express his protector instinct. Sometimes it means allowing him to help. Not because you need him to, but because you understand it is a gift to him. A gift that nourishes his soul and deepens his devotion to you in a way that, "I love you," never could. The first key, the first magic phrase is the antidote to this modern confusion. It allows you to keep all your strength while making him the hero he wants to be in your life. Now that we know the emotional battlefield, it is time to reveal the 3 keys. They are not magic spells. They are psychological tools at hand. Precise, powerful. Each of these 3 phrases speaks to a part of the male soul that, "I love you," simply does not reach. The first key phrase, a vote of trust. The sentence is, "I trust you." But not said casually. These words are most powerful in 2 moments. When he is making a big decision that affects both of you, or when you are feeling especially vulnerable. Imagine you are making a decision about an investment, a move, a family issue. Your instinct might be to take control, but instead you look him in the eyes and say, "I know this is not easy, but I trust you. Do what you think is right." In that moment, something magical happens. You stop being his co-pilot and become the queen who trusts her king. You give him power, not out of weakness, but by conscious choice. You say, "I see you. I see your ability, your intelligence, your integrity. And I place my well-being in your hands without fear." That is more than love. That is respect in its purest form. It activates his leadership instinct, his sense of responsibility. And he will want to move mountains to be worthy of your trust. The second key phrase, the emotional refuge. If the first phrase is given before the battle, this one comes after. The phrase is, "I feel safe with you." Whisper it after a long hug or while you are cuddling or in the quiet after intimacy. This sentence is the balm for a man's greatest hidden wound. The fear of not being enough. A man lives under constant pressure to be strong, to protect, to provide. His worst nightmare is failing in that. When you say, "I feel safe with you," you are not rating his performance. It is not, "Thank you for protecting me." It is a statement about the state of your soul when he is near. You are telling him that his presence, his being is your safe place. That the world can fall apart. But with him, you are at peace. That is infinitely more powerful than, "You make me happy." Happiness is a mood. Safety is a state of being. When you say this, you affirm his deepest masculine purpose. You make him your harbor, your anchor. And a man who knows he is his woman's emotional home will never feel the need to seek a battle elsewhere. He has already found his sacred mission. But if you think that is powerful, then comes the key that makes the difference between a woman who is loved and a woman who is adored. The third key, the mirror of his greatness. This one is the most subtle and requires the most emotional intelligence from you. The phrase is, "I admire you for," and here is the most important part, be brutally specific. A vague, "I admire you," is like sugar water, sweet but empty. Real specific admiration is nourishing. For example, "I admire your patience on the phone with your boss today. I admire how you fixed that. I would not have even known where to start. I admire your discipline. Even when you are tired, you still go to the gym." When you are specific, you send 3 incredibly powerful messages. First, you are paying attention to him, not just to the big things, but to the details. Second, you value his effort, not just the result. You see the struggle, not just the win. Third, you show him a version of himself he may have never seen. You become the mirror of his greatness. Men rarely receive real compliments. They are used to criticism and expectations. When you become the voice that not only loves him, but admires him wisely and precisely, you become irresistible. You are the one who shows him how extraordinary he truly is. And that kind of recognition is the most powerful aphrodisiac there is. And this is where everything changes. The fog clears and the map we spoke of reveals its final destination. We have talked about instincts, psychology, and 3 key phrases. And all of it leads to one simple and yet profound truth, one we often miss. We have spent decades, generations, trying to build lasting love with the wrong tools. We have tried to prove what we feel through love, words, and gestures, not realizing that we were decorating the walls of a house whose foundation was already cracked. Because the great revelation, the turning point is this. For a man, love is the result, not the condition. He does not fall in love with the woman who says she loves him. He falls hopelessly in love with the woman who makes him proud to be the man he is with her. Think of the 3 key phrases. I trust you. I feel safe with you. I admire you. For none of these are about your feelings. They are not, I love you. I need you. I want you. They are mirrors that say to him, you are trustworthy. You are my protector. You are admirable. I love you is a gift you give him. The 3 keys are a recognition of the man he already is. And that is a massive difference. Here is the truth that changes everything. I love you speaks to his heart. I trust you speaks to his soul. The first makes him feel loved. The second makes him feel like a man. And burn this into your heart. A man will stay forever. Will fight to the end. Will give everything for the one person who makes him feel like a real man. You give him something neither his job nor money nor friends ever could. You give him the confirmation of his masculine identity through your eyes. You tie the purpose of his life to your relationship, his desire to be competent, to protect, to be admired. He no longer chases that outside and comes home for love. Now you are his mission to protect you, to earn your trust and to keep your admiration. That is the victory. You have connected his purpose in life with his love for you. And that is checkmate. It is a bond that no chemistry or affection alone can create. Because you have not just conquered his heart, you have won his mind. And the mind, unlike the heart, is not fickle. When it finds its anchor, it never lets go. Understanding this is like receiving the key to an immense inner treasure. And like any power, this one also requires responsibility. It is not about memorizing the script and pairing it. That would be an insult to your intelligence and his. It is about a complete reorientation of your perspective and your way of communicating. A shift that takes practice, authenticity, and above all intention. So, how can you apply this without sounding fake or manipulative? Step 1. Become an observer, a detective of his strengths. Spend the next few days not looking for his mistakes, which our brains do automatically, but actively searching for evidence of his competence, integrity, and effort. Notice his patience in traffic, how kind he is to the waiter, how focused he is when fixing something, how he listens to a friend. Our daily life is full of small, invisible acts of heroism. Your task is to notice them. And when you truly see them, the words will come naturally because the key is not in the words. The words are only the vehicle. What matters is the real emotion behind them. The real work is to cultivate the emotion first. Now, the most important thing, what you must avoid at all costs. First, avoid manipulation. Men have an incredibly sensitive radar for inauthenticity. If you use, I trust you, to get something or, I admire you, right before asking for a favor, he will feel it. Maybe not consciously, but there will be a disconnect. Something will feel off and the effect will be the opposite. He will put his walls up. Second, avoid repetition. These phrases are like wine from a very special vintage. Their power lies in quality and timing, not frequency. If you say, I feel safe with you, 3 times a day, it will become background noise within a week, as empty as a routine. Good morning. Use them in key moments when the emotional weight gives them their true meaning. Third, avoid contradictions. You cannot say, "I trust you," and then check his phone or question every decision. You cannot say you admire his discipline and then complain that he spends time on his projects. Your actions must echo your words. Congruence is the foundation of trust. Once you internalize this, when you go from theory to true practice, real transformation begins. The relationship evolves. You will no longer just be his girlfriend or wife. Roles that often come with passion, but also with drama or demands. You will become his partner in life, his ally, his safe harbor. And that is a position from which there is no turning back. The connection is no longer based just on chemistry, which is volatile and changes with time, but on mutual respect and recognition, as stable as rock. He is not with you just because he loves you. He is with you because he is his best self with you. And that is the secret to unwavering loyalty. Not a contract, not an obligation, but the natural logical result of a man who has finally found the place where his soul can rest and soar at the same time. At this point, you might think all of this is a complicated strategy, a manual for the male heart. But if you stay only with the technique, you will miss the core of the message. Because what we analyze today goes far beyond communication methods. It is at its core an invitation to live a higher, more conscious, and ultimately more powerful form of love. Almost every love story we have been told begins and ends with butterflies in the stomach, that electric feeling, that chemistry, that urgent need to be with the other person. It is the initial fire that sets everything in motion. Butterflies by nature do not live forever. They are the heralds of love, but not love itself. True love, the kind that weathers storms, that grows stronger with the scars of time, begins exactly where the butterflies fly away. It begins when you decide to love not just the feeling the other gives you, but the whole person. Especially in the moments when loving him is not easy. Loving a man in his depth does not just mean enjoying his strength, but also recognizing and accepting his vulnerability. It means understanding that behind the man who wants to be your hero, there is often a little boy who is afraid of not being enough. It means knowing that his silence does not always mean distance, but sometimes an internal labyrinth where he is lost without knowing how to ask for help. It means seeing through the armor he shows the world and recognizing the man within with his doubts, his fears, his dreams. This is where your true power lies. Not the power to manipulate, but the strength to build, the ability to be a lighthouse, not a judge. A judge sits and evaluates past actions, delivers a verdict. A lighthouse stands firm in the darkness, calm and steady. It does not judge the ship that has gone off course. It simply shines its light to guide the way back to safety. To be a lighthouse means to believe in his ability to withstand the storm. It means showing him the direction when he has lost it. And the three keys, trust, safety, admiration, are nothing more than the beams of light from that lighthouse. Because in the end, loving a man is not just about feeling butterflies. It is about falling in love with a feeling he gives you. True love, the kind that builds legacies and withstands time, is about falling in love with his soul. Seeing it even when he cannot see it himself, and having the courage and generosity to reflect it back to him again and again with your words, your silence, your actions, until he sees it for himself. That is the greatest gift you can give him. And it is also the greatest proof of the extraordinary woman you are. After this journey into the heart of the labyrinth, after dissecting the engine of desire and connection, only one question remains, and it is no longer directed at him, but at you. You stand at a crossroads. The first path is the wide one, the one most people take. It is the path of continuing to speak the language of love you were taught. A language full of "I love yous" that, as we have seen, often get lost in translation with well-meaning but incomplete connections. It is the easier path because it does not ask anything new of you. And then there is the second path, narrower, steeper. It requires you to pause, to listen differently, to observe with eyes that see beneath the surface. It demands the courage to let go of control, the wisdom to offer safety, the intelligence to see greatness in the small things. It is the path of learning a second emotional language. A language that few ever try to learn, but which is the only one his soul truly understands. The decision is yours. Who do you want to be? The woman who touches his heart like many others could, or the woman who consciously chooses to learn the language of his soul? Think about it. Learn to speak the language of his soul and he will no longer be able to hear any. Building on this foundation, let me expand as a psychologist on why these phrases are so effective from a neurological standpoint. Research in attachment theory, pioneered by John Bowlby, shows that secure attachments form when individuals feel valued for their core identities. For men, this often ties into socialized roles of provider and protector, reinforced by testosterone-driven behaviors that emphasize competence and agency. When you say, "I trust you," it activates the reward centers in his brain, similar to dopamine releases during achievement. In my practice, I have worked with couples where the woman, by incorporating this phrase during decision-making, saw her partner become more engaged and less defensive. For instance, one client shared how trusting her husband with planning a family vacation, despite her own organizational skills, led to him feeling empowered and subsequently more attentive in their daily interactions. This is not mere anecdote. Studies from the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology indicate that perceived trust enhances relationship satisfaction by reducing anxiety and increasing reciprocity. Similarly, "I feel safe with you" taps into the limbic system, the emotional core of the brain, fostering oxytocin release, which bonds partners on a deeper level. Safety is not just physical, it is emotional, signaling that you view him as a reliable constant amid life's uncertainties. I recall a case where a man struggling with work stress confided that hearing this from his wife after a tough day shifted his self-perception from failure to guardian, reigniting their intimacy. Admiration, the third phrase, leverages the power of positive reinforcement, a cornerstone of behavioral psychology from B.F. Skinner. Specificity is key because it makes the compliment feel earned and personal, avoiding the dilution of generic praise. In therapy, I encourage clients to keep a mental or written log of their partner's admirable traits, which not only helps in expressing them authentically but also rewires the observer's own mindset toward gratitude. This practice can reduce conflict by up to 30%, as per relationship intervention studies. To integrate these into daily life, start with self-reflection. Assess your own attachment style. Are you anxious, avoidant, or secure? Anxious attachers might overuse these phrases out of fear, while avoidants could resist vulnerability. Therapy can help calibrate this. Moreover, cultural contexts matter. In individualistic societies like the United States, men may seek validation through achievements, whereas in collectivist cultures, it might tie more to family roles. Adapt accordingly. Potential pitfalls include gender stereotypes. Not all men fit this hero mold. Some prioritize emotional openness due to upbringing or personality. Always tailor to your partner. If he values creativity over protection, admire his innovative ideas. Equality is crucial. These phrases empower him without diminishing you. Reciprocity ensures balance. Encourage him to express what makes you feel valued. In long-term relationships, these keys prevent stagnation. Passion fades, but respect endures. Couples therapy data shows that pairs focusing on mutual admiration report higher marital stability. Experiment mindfully, track how he responds over weeks, adjusting based on feedback. Ultimately, this approach fosters authenticity. It is not manipulation but enlightenment, aligning with Carl Jung's humanistic psychology, where unconditional positive regard heals and connects. By speaking his soul's language, you create a partnership where both thrive, transcending superficial love to profound union. Let me delve deeper into the evolutionary underpinnings. As the text notes, men's instincts trace to hunter-gatherer eras, where survival hinged on utility. Modern stressors like economic pressures amplify this, making external validations addictive. By providing internal ones, you redirect his focus homeward. Neuroimaging studies reveal that such affirmations light up the ventral striatum, akin to monetary rewards. Practical exercises, role-play scenarios. Practice saying, "I trust you," in low-stakes decisions, building to higher ones. For safety, pair it with physical closeness to enhance bonding hormones. Admiration journals, note 3 specifics daily, sharing 1 weekly. Addressing skepticism, some view this as regressive, but empowerment lies in choice. Strong women can affirm partners without weakness. It promotes equity by validating both genders' needs. In toxic dynamics, these phrases alone will not suffice. Professional help is needed for abuse or deep-seated issues. But for healthy relationships, they are transformative. Consider intergenerational impacts. Teaching this to younger generations could reduce divorce rates, fostering resilient bonds. In summary, blending the text's wisdom with psychological depth, these 3 phrases, "I trust you," "I feel safe with you," "I admire you," unlock enduring commitment. They honor his essence, creating a love that is not just felt but lived profoundly. As your guide, I urge implementation with heart and mind aligned for relational fulfillment.